Welcome to this episode of OG55. I got the Italiana with me and the one and only Mr. Theme Park Wizard. We are talking about Tiana's Wizard. We are talking about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We're breaking it down. All three of us have now been on this attraction. George has also been on the one in Walt Disney World. We're going to talk about it, break it down. Up next on OG55. Welcome on board, everybody.
Right here, this is the dance. When you play that intro, this is the dance I think of.
Exactly. That's exactly the dance. That's the exact choreography. Mr. Wizard, it's always good to have you on. How are you doing today, sir?
Fantastic. And had a great day at Disneyland this morning. You'll hear all about it. Find me on Theme Park Wizard on YouTube, Theme_Park_Wizard on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. And stay tuned, because soon you can book a vacation with me. And George, you may want to, because I know you're flying everywhere.
Exactly. You're going to be a busy man, Wizard. You're going to be a busy man.
I'll have George on speed. George will have me on speed dial.
Exactly.
You know, George, that story where he called me and then he got an email after I said I bought his ticket, even though I really didn't. Yeah, that's going to happen in real life now.
Dude, that like freaked the shit out of me. Like, it was like I was on the phone with him. He's like, you're gonna get an email, and literally my phone just like dinged like right then and there, and I'm like I'm bugged by Wizard. Like, he got a hidden camera on me or something.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Mr. Italiano, welcome back to the show, sir.
Absolutely. It's always a good time, and this is gonna be a great conversation. I think we all have our thoughts and opinions on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and I definitely have some myself, especially being on Tiana's on both coasts. So yeah, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, absolutely. For a second there, Wizard, I thought the Invisible Man was filling in for you.
Yeah, you know. Hey, Mickey sucked me back. He took me back into California Adventure behind me. He said, get back over here.
All right, gentlemen, let's go ahead and let's just talk about our thoughts on this attraction, right? So, George, you've been on both Florida and Disneyland, right?
Correct.
What were your overall thoughts in regards to that comparison? Because you're the only one here that's done both. So we'll talk comparison first, and then we'll dive deeper we'll dig a little deeper into the version.
Yeah.
Then go ahead, George.
Yes. So going into it, just in general, I kept my expectations kind of in the middle, you know? So it's like, I didn't have like high expectations, but I didn't have this kind of like low degrading kind of notion that a lot of the fandom was having about it, because it was replacing a beloved attraction that we all adored, you know? And, you know, so it's like, that's a big feat to achieve, you know? It's like, can this attraction, you know, hold the grounds after Splash Mountain? And I have to say, I absolutely loved this attraction. I really did. I'll get more into it in depth of why I love Disneyland's more than Walt Disney World's, but just one and the same. I think that for a replacement ride, in a sense, it didn't feel like a replacement ride. No. It literally felt like just a natural ride that has been there. However, I will say of why they needed to take so many trips down to New Orleans for it. that still baffles me to this day.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Not to interrupt, but you're right though. I haven't been on Florida's version, but Disneyland's version, it felt very purpose built. Like, we talked about this. I think I even told you, Wizard, when we were at the parks. It doesn't feel like an overlay. Like, you can walk up to Mission Breakout and it's like, okay. Right, it's the hotel with a bunch of stuff. Right? Yeah, this felt like, if I didn't know any better, if I was completely ignorant to the fact that this was a retheme, I would have thought this was built from the ground up as Tiana's. You know,
which I bet for a lot of people that travel to the Disney parks outside of the Disney fandom, because we're nerds. We follow this stuff from concept to construction to opening. But for that random family of 4 from Colorado or Maine or what have you, they go and they say, "Oh, it's a Princess and the Frog ride," not even thinking that it's their first time there, that it ever was a ride called Splash Mountain. A lot of people may not even know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Mr. Wizard, what were your overall thoughts on the Tiana's Bayou Adventure?
Well, okay, so I was excited to have the log flume back, so I was pumped. OG was with me. You saw how of a tense moment it was just to try to get on the damn thing with a virtual queue, but we got it. And then thanks to the world clock and this whole degree we had to go through. Shout out to Jalen's family for suggesting that.
And big shout out to Jalen's family. I fell in love with them. They are amazing people. We had a really good time with them. Go ahead, Wizard.
I know, they're so fun. It was so great. I can't wait to go back with them with the holidays. But yeah, so we got in. And I like one. I'm going to start because I don't know Florida's version. I've seen the ride, but I don't know the queue situation. But Disneyland's queue, kind of wrapped around the mountain, and it was the wait time was really hard to see. The Splash Mountain entrance is kind of actually where the gift shop is for Haunted Mansion, which it was interesting. I'll say it now. When I went on today, now that the mansion's been unwrapped and everything, you can see the gift shop, Haunted Mansion gift shop from Tiana's on the lower part. When you was going to the finale, if you look up, it's like right there. I didn't know it was that close. But it kind of fits in well, which is cool. But that was usually the entrance right there. But now it's like a more organized, I feel like, situation with the queue. There's an actual wait time sign. There's an entrance sign. You're not wrapping around the mountain. There's more shade than before, because before you're standing on the bridge where it's in direct sunlight and this hot sun. So that part, I absolutely loved it. I think it's a big improvement. And if anyone says otherwise, then maybe they like waiting in the hot sun because there's nothing there. Now it's more themed and stuff. And then you go on in the barn. I like the yellow, the kind of weathered yellow color scheme that we got there. The murals, I didn't even notice the murals this time. So I mean, they're whatever, but they're not like in your face, as I said before. You go and I like that they added that scene in the kitchen in the queue. Again, anyone who says that Splash Mountain's that particular segment of the queue was better doesn't know what they're talking about, or they just like wood because that's all that was there before. There's something where nothing was before.
And,
so I like that.
Really quick, Wizard, not to interrupt you, but that also goes for Florida's version as well.
Mm-hmm.
Both queues for Disneyland and Walt Disney World Splash Mountain was basically bare to the brim. It had like no any kind of details like into it, like rather than you just kind of like walking through like a shed or like a barn kind of thing. But yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of intricate details that you will see in this queue that they added. So that I can appreciate of what they got out of those 10,000 New Orleans
research trip. Yeah. And the good thing is the queue looks the same. They just added stuff. It's not like they really did much to it. So it feels like the Splash Mountain queue, but like enhanced in a way, which is cool because they still have the cave and they just added the salt mine thing there. And you go down and then you get on the ride. I do like on the ride itself, the lift hill has that Tiana animatronic, because again, we had an owl in our version. I don't know if Florida had, but there's like an actual like something to look at there. I like the frogs. I like the vegetation. I feel like the vegetation actually looks better on the ride when you're on the ride versus when you're standing on the bridge looking at it. But you feel like you're in like a different place. There's no spiky thorns. It feels like different. And I like in Disneyland's version all the animatronics, but like in Disney World's that ride through, particularly with Tiana on the log in that one scene, you can kind of see her coming from like a mile away, and she's like sitting there waiting for you. At Disneyland's, and this is why I tell an OG, I was like, oh man, I really think this is made for Disneyland after I went on it, because you can't see anything. Every turn, there's like a reveal. It's like reveal and reveal and then reveal and turn. You can't see any animatronics ahead of you waiting. You can't see Tiana waiting for you. And that same scene in Disneyland it's when you make that right turn and then it's hidden behind like the wall and then up there she is. It's not like, oh, she's just sitting there, which I thought that was great.
Yeah, I call that scene at Walt Disney World the Shining scene, because it's you're like looking down the hallway and she's just like sitting there and she's doing this kind of like
kind of creepy. And then
you're right though, Wizard. It was very like I was very surprised with the animatronics. They were everywhere. There was no dead space, and they were a lot bigger than
they were huge, and they're like in your face, but not like it's like super close to you, but like huge. And I went on it again today, so I was able to look even more. I was like, wow, they still look still as impressed as the first time. Like this thing is huge.
They are definitely. They seem much closer to you than the one done at Magic Kingdom. The one at Magic Kingdom, like they're at a close proximity where you can still see the details, but I mean like. At Disneyland's, they're all up in your grill. Like it's, it's like,
they're like right there, and I like it. It was very immersive. The music was very contagious the whole way through. And that was one of the things I was kind of worried about going into Tiana's because Splash Mountain had great music, and I was like, how is it going to compare? It compares, I think. I mean, the Special Spice song, I love that as a finale. I thought that was amazing. Go ahead,
now speaking of the finale scene, where like they're at the Mardi Gras party and what have you, there is a little bit of a difference that I've noticed to the one in Florida than the one at California. And I feel like when you go into that final scene at Walt Disney World, they rush you through that scene. Like you don't have no time to really even look at what's going around you. Where at Disneyland's, the log moves pretty at a slow trajectory, so you can kind of get details on like what's going on. You could take your time, look at each animatronic. At Walt Disney World, it feels like they rush you in that final scene.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, because that's a beautiful scene, and it's packed with animatronics in there. Interesting. So, George, in terms of now, you feel that this was made for Disneyland, right? In terms of
this
like
was
the way
definitely made for Disneyland. You can, if you were to ride both rides on each coast, you can see how the scenes, the timing, everything was ready with Disneyland's Mountain. Where when Wizard had mentioned about that long stretch waiting for Tiana, they had so much room, and that mountain was built differently that if they wanted to do a side-by-side comparison of the storyline, they're left so much gaps in between. And that's why when you go on Magic Kingdom's Tiana's, there's a lot of dark spaces. Now, there is some dark spaces in Disneyland, but it feels more like the Bayou kind of darkness. The one in Magic Kingdom, I feel like there's just too much darkness because they don't have anything extra to kind of add into.
Yeah, it was definitely made for Disneyland. Then they try to put it over in Magic Kingdom, and they have a bigger Splash Mountain, so it doesn't really fit the same. And that was something Disney, I think, should have splurged and just made more scenes for Florida. Exactly. I think that was a big mistake.
Now, well, I will say as a positive for Walt Disney World's Tiana's is I still absolutely think that the log ride system is better than at Disneyland's. I love how you have the sit 2x2 in each row, and the logs are much higher, so you don't have to get all the way down where like every bump you feel it on your butt. And then also too, as of right now, and then Wizard, I'm curious to know if anything had changed since you've been on it again today. Those logs fill up with even more water since Splash Mountain, because not only does it come from the sides, it comes from the front. It's completely torrential downpours the whole entire log. Like no matter where you're sitting, some part of your body is going to get wet, and I don't mean in a good way.
Exactly. No, the water thing was a huge thing, and that was one of my big complaints, was that you're so apprehensive of getting so wet. That's the one thing that kind of takes away a little bit from the experience. But go ahead, George. I do apologize.
And no, not at all. Absolutely, bro. And that's the one downside, is if you're in like the first two seats in Disneyland's version, you're completely soaking wet where you're trying to wipe the water from your face, your eyes, get your hair out. That sometimes you could be missing a scene or something because you're just so captivated, like, oh my gosh, that was awesome. I got completely wet. Oh, I just missed that. Like it's, because you do move so quickly, so I do wish that they can kind of get that where you could still get wet, because especially in the summertime in California, you're going to want to get wet,
Right.
but you don't want it to where it's like it hinders your ride experience.
Yeah. Now, Wizard, we were towards the back of our log.
Yeah, we were towards the back. So I remember Daryl, our buddy in the front, with his big poncho on. He got pretty wet. Luckily I didn't, and OG, I don't think you got too wet.
No.
And today I was in rows 2, 3, 4. I was in 4. I didn't get too wet, but also the person 2 didn't get too wet either. She had just a few drops on her. So I was like, oh, that's good. So none of us in our log today got too wet. But both times the log didn't flood. I remember that because I remember I had my backpack with OG. I had my backpack there, and the log wasn't wet for that, which is cool. And today I didn't have a backpack, but the log didn't flood. Thank goodness, because that would have been annoying on my shoes.
Now, Wizard, speaking of today, we're gonna have a story time with Wizard right now.
Oh yeah.
Story time with Mr. Wizard. Wizard, I will let you take the floor. I think you have some thoughts on the virtual queue, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh God! Oh, what a horrible thing! Again, I get the previews now, but on November 15th, I better not see this by Thanksgiving. It should be gone. Okay, this is I took a picture. Well, first of all, I want to say that on today's ride through, the screen that was broken or kind of cutting out when I wrote with OG, that was fixed. That was cool. I still don't like the screen, but at least it was fixed. But now here we got it's called at open at 9 a.m. I got group 14, which is pretty cool. And at 9:42, I don't think I had a single breakdown today, which is cool. At least when I was there, they were running through it. So I 42 minutes in, I was in, and this was the scene. Okay, there's no one in here. I was like, oh man, this is gonna, because I wanted to take my time and film the queue, but I was like, I felt like I gotta keep moving, so I kept on moving and filmed the queue. And I got to the log, and there was like, out of the 2 lines, there was no one in my line. There's a group in the other line. Now I got a little worried because I didn't want the front, because I didn't want my camera to get all wet. So I had to wait. I waited 5 minutes for someone to come on my line so I can go into row 4. I was like, I told the cast member, it was very nice. I forgot her name. She was very nice. She let me wait and she let the group in front of me go so I can get in row 4. But I was like, and still, there's only 3 of us and out of a 6-person thing. And we all went through, no breakdown. I came back out and I went to the bridge to shoot some B-roll, and the bridge was packed. Everyone's watching. And then we watched 3 empty logs come down because there's literally probably no one behind me. At 9:42. So it was really, when I walked out, this is when I was walking out. No one's there, clearly. So there's empty logs come down. And I hear this family next to me saying, man, can we get on this track? They're discussing, should we go on the ride? And I don't want to be the one to tell them that you need a virtual queue. I'm like, I'll let them figure it out. I hope they don't decide to go on, because they wouldn't be able to. But I was like, man, someone should be able to go on. I get right now it's the previews, but on November 15th, if the demand is like this, or if the ride doesn't break down, it can eat a lot of people. I sure hope that blog post that said the virtual queue lasts just days, I hope it's true, because it's still on virtual queue to Magic Kingdom. It's been months. This is crazy. So many people could be riding. So I hope, please, Disney,
that is concerning, because even with Cosmic Rewind is still on virtual queue.
Yeah, not the roller coaster. I feel like, come on, that these things can eat the people. Take it off. I'm really, by Thanksgiving.
That's every time I always say that to a female.
Take it off.
Take it off. Yeah, exactly, George. Exactly. Yeah, that was perfect. Well done, sir. Well done. I was waiting for a sex joke, and you really nailed it. You really nailed it. Another joke. No, but they got to get off this virtual queue stuff. I understand, maybe like you were saying, Wizard, like the first few days or first week even or something. But like you were saying, like Magic Kingdom, they've had this VQ thing for months.
Yeah, because it opened George, in July, right? June. Opened in June.
Yeah.
So that's 5 months now. Yeah. this, and I get it wasn't working too well before, but it seems to be working well now. From at least no one's posting and talking bad about it, so I feel like it's working better. I mean, take it off, and it's getting colder. Oh, it's not too cold in Orlando, but it's colder than July. Just take it off for God's sake, especially when Thunder Mountain goes down over there. You need some ride capacity.
Yeah, just take it off. Even if it is cold, you end up with some hard nipples, but who cares?
Exactly.
There it is. Yeah, exactly, Jordan. Exactly. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. No, you guys are right. You're right with this VQ thing. Disney's like stuck on it. I don't know what it is, man. Disney gets like stuck on things like this. I just don't understand. You know, and even the lightning nonsense. They it's like such an easy fix. You know, like Wizard. Like I told you, like we did a show together, but HHN, when we experienced Express Pass over at Universal, I became a true believer. Like
I did too. I see Disney in that way, in a completely different way when it comes to this virtual queue lightning lane kind of thing. Because it was like, I mean, I rarely used it anyway, because again, I just kind of go with the flow anyway when I'm at the parks with OG and stuff. But but in comparison to what we did at HHN, I'll probably never look at Lightning Lane the same in comparison.
It's just, yeah, come on, Disney. You know what I'm saying? And they're smart. They're a smart company, you know?
Yeah, they know what they're doing. They just choose not to because people still buy into it.
Exactly. So people stop buying it or only buy the Premier Pass. So that way they only sell it.
Yeah, exactly. If they just had the Premier Pass, and we talked about this a lot, if they just had that and you had to pay $400, well, there's your barrier to entry. So when you do spend the $400, there's less people in that system. That's how it should be. That's what Express Pass is. That's what it should be. But when you have the $400 people in the line with the $30 people, you defeat the whole. There's no point at that. You know.
Then you might as well just pay the $30 because you're right where the 400 people are. You know, it's like
it's wild to me, but they're banking on people not really realizing that. And I get it. There are some perks to the Premier where like you don't have to there's no return times and stuff like that. And I think you can ride racers and Rise of the Resistance, if I'm not mistaken. That's included. There's some perks, but $400 worth? I don't think so.
Yeah, even then, I mean, they should at least make it unlimited. You can go in as many times as you want, but it's still just one time. That's crazy.
Right. So for the $450 value that you're including Rise of the Resistance and Radiator Springs Racers, you might as well should just buy the $30 and then pay the extra $40 just to ride those two rides. You're still cheaper. You're only paying $70.
I'm telling you,
mind blowing.
But see, but Wizard, as a up and coming travel agent, you'll be able to, educate people on that stuff, right? You'll be able to tell them, hey, look, don't do that, do this.
Yeah. You could be like, get this pass; it'll completely rip you off.
Yeah, that's right. It'll completely rip you off. Or sail the 7 seas with me and let's do some piracy.
Sail the 7 seas. Oh man, I wish I had like a pirate drop. I gotta get a pirate drop on here somewhere.
Yeah, dude. I'm surprised. Oh, come on, that's an iconic ride.
We need some pirate stuff in here. But yeah, interesting stuff, you guys. Tiana's, I'm very happy. Oh, let's talk about a little bit about the stuff around Tiana's too, like Ray's Beret. Yes. Right? What do you think about that? Bayou Country and the signage, the store, all that stuff, Wizard.
Well, yeah, okay. So I never, as I told OG when I went there, I don't think I've ever went into the other one, the Briar Patch. So I didn't really can't compare. But from what I saw from Ray's Braves, I'm sure it seemed like an upgrade because they added those cool projection screens that show the nighttime firefly sky, and they had some cool merchandise in there, and like all the lights were blue. It was very nice mood lighting. I thought it was fantastic little shop, and it was pretty packed, so I guess a lot of people did too. But according to OG there, I guess there was like carrots or something on top of the Briar Patch. So I mean, it seemed like an upgrade to me. I really liked the whole area. I really like the new payment, like Pooh's new queue. I like the music blasting through the area. It's pretty. In the car, I saw the car unveiled today. It was very nice. I think the whole area is pretty awesome. And Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree. Wow, beautiful food.
Oh, it was so good, man. It was so good. I got the beef brisket.
Mm.
It was absolutely phenomenal. You guys, what? Okay, you got
Yeah, I got
the platter.
the platter came with the ribs and the pulled pork and coleslaw and beans and everything. It was pretty good. I finished the whole thing actually. It was great.
Nice,
And
nice. And
then
then
they
I bet your toilet thanked you later.
uh not my toilet, the Hungry Bear toilet.
Oh, okay.
there it is. Good man, good man.
Gotta stink up the Disney toilets and keep yours clean.
Exactly.
That should be your travel agency bumper sticker.
That's right. Stink up them Disney toilets for charging you $400 for the lightning lane.
Yeah, exactly. And okay, so what did Jalen's family get?
It's oh god, what's it? I know that Alina got the corn ribs, which looked interesting, but I was too full to try them. Apparently, they're not a rib; they're just corn shaped like ribs.
Yeah, they have like a curve to them, right?
Yeah, like a curve. So I guess it's just corn on the cob. I don't know what it is, but it looked good. I think someone else got a sandwich. Didn't they get a sandwich? I think they got a sandwich, and then they all seemed to like it. It was cool because they had a little iPad and we were watching football playing at the Hungry Bear. It was like we're in the living room.
Oh my gosh, when I was out there, everyone was like on their phones cheering for the Dodgers. It was like we were waiting for Phantasmic and everyone was like cheering and hooting and hollering. The show didn't start yet, and I'm looking on their phones. I'm like, what's going on? It's like, oh yeah, the Dodgers are playing. I'm like, oh, okay, World Series.
But one thing was cool was you can see the train tracks now from there. So we saw like a many trains passing by or waving to the people. That's nice interaction.
I will say, because Wizard, you brought up Winnie the Pooh. I was a bit apprehensive of how Pooh would fit in with the Bayou country, but I have to say, it's kind of like it's part of that area, but yet it has its own feel. Like when you're in line for Winnie the Pooh, it doesn't affect Tiana's, and when you're dealing with Tiana's, it's not any effect to Pooh.
And I think what was smart because they got rid of the Pooh meet and greet too, right?
That was they still meet over there in that corner.
I thought they were still over there. Remember Winnie the Pooh was meeting the little kid when we met?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It does feel though very much part of the area. And I think it helps too that both attractions have that little whitewashed fence or whatever on both sides. It kind of brings the whole thing together. But aside from, I guess, like the characters or whatever, there isn't too much Pooh kind of leaking over. Like you can't really tell. Like the Pooh signage. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of Pooh leaking over. That's great, George. Fantastic. I love it.
We gotta save that for the Hungry Bear toilets. Don't forget.
Exactly. No, but in all seriousness, it doesn't really bleed over into. Now, if it's bleeding, you got to go get that checked. No, right. It doesn't really bleed over into like the Tiana stuff. It all feels like a cohesive area. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, like they don't have a.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, do it.
If you have some bleeding with your poo, then that's a conversation you have to have with your doctor.
Yes, please get checked out on that for sure. Absolutely.
Sorry, bro.
No. Overall, I think that was handled very well. I think the whole area is very, very. It feels very cohesive, and I get it. The theme park nerds, like people like us and in our circle, we're gonna nitpick the poo thing, because it's it doesn't really, it's not the Bayou, right? The normie's not going to care. And I think it's handled well enough where I'm okay with it, Yeah.
And then also too, I didn't get a chance to go into the gift shops yet, but I will say I have been on Tiana's at night. And I have to say it is breathtaking when you're in the very beginning of the ride, when you're kind of going around the turn before you take the lift hill up where the drop is on the right side of you. You see all that the color palette and the lighting and everything, and then you hear the music. It just gives you puts you in a good mood, honestly. And I love how it looks at night.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's a beautiful attraction. I think Disney handled it very, very well. There was a lot of, complaining on Twitter and stuff leading up to this attraction, and I think it was really, in my opinion, much ado over nothing. I think it turned out fantastic. You know,
Yeah, I mean, that sounds fine to me.
yeah.
I will say though, during the time when Mama Odie shrinks you, I do wish that they had more critters down in
Same,
that
yeah.
area. And
I
it feels
feel
they're
like
just
the laughing place was more like vibrant.
yeah, like they just had like a couple frogs, and then you had that screen with 3D animated Tiana and Lewis, which for me it kind of gives off like a Disney Junior vibe, like that type of animation style.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have done 2D for that, you know, because if you look at like an attraction like Alice in Wonderland,
Yes.
at first when you go down, down, down the rabbit hole, right, and then you have like you see the white rabbit run across and everything.
Yes.
Well, it's like that's all 2D, but it's mixed in with the physical sets, right? But it looks really like natural though. It like fits in really well, like seamlessly, you know? They could have done the same thing with Tiana. Like if you would have had a hand-drawn Tiana and Lewis, I think it would have looked a lot better.
Me too.
Because here's the thing, they did the hand drawn for the Fireflies.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah,
See, to me, that throws it off even more that you have hand drawn Fireflies from the movie. But then you have like these 3D animated. It kind of lost in translation.
Well, George, it's the multiverse.
the Tianaverse.
But I will say the lift to the final drop, Disneyland's is way better because the projections with the Bayou Mist, the effect works really well. I guess of how like the tunnel is.
Right.
You don't really get that full effect at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a cool effect. Yeah, overall, I was really happy. I agree with you, though, George. I think we needed more critters in there. You know, the frogs, though, were bigger than I was expecting. Like Mondo 5 fires. You know, it was funny because I'm a pretty tall dude. I'm like what, like 5'11" ish or so. I don't know.
Add your hair, 6'3".
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
but like if I were to like stand next to like say Mondo, right, like the little Mondo frog. He would come up to like my waist. I mean, they're tall. These are tall figures, you know? So I don't know. Interesting attraction though. Interesting attraction. George, and then I'll go to Wizard. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
For me, as I said, I really enjoy Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I mean, there's still a piece of me that I'll always hold dear to Splash Mountain because of the memories of growing up and, you know, and enjoying the ride and the soundtrack and everything. But I always am an optimistic person. I like to look at the glass half full instead of half empty. And I like to take my P's and Q's from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Walt Disney, when it's like you got to keep moving forward. You know, progress is a virtue. And he did not want a stagnant museum. You know, he didn't want things to stay the same forever. As time went on, Marty Sklar said it best. Walt had one foot in the past and one foot in the future. So it's like he kind of leaned on both that as time goes on, he wanted to move along with the technology and the times.
But wait, George, I thought every time a new change happens, Walt rolls in his grave.
Apparently, I've been hearing that a lot. I mean,
every single time, Wizard. Every single time.
And you know what I could honestly
say
roll
so much, you're gonna get dizzy.
And you know what I could say to that? Guess what? You're wrong again because he can't roll in his grave because he was cremated.
Exactly. The ashes are vibrating in his grave, you know.
I have to say though, kind of like off the thing, OG and I got to go and visit his grave, and I have to say it was a very
powerful experience.
Yeah, it's something that I can't even put into words. But if anyone hasn't had the opportunity to visit his grave site where his where he was laid to rest in that little garden area, in the what's the name of it, OG? I forget the name of it.
Forest Lawn.
I highly recommend to do so because I mean, yeah, it was a completely different feel of something that I've never felt before.
Yeah, you could feel it. Like when you walked in, like there's an energy. I can't really pinpoint it, but you could tell it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And any Disney fan, and I'm honestly surprised. I mean, you can just walk up to it. Like it's open to everybody. So,
Yeah.
and it's like basically like a little grassy area with a little fence around it, right? And it's Walt and Lily and
Oh,
Sharon.
Sharon.
And there was one other person that was there. Now I know Diane's not, because Diane was buried with her husband, Ron Miller. But yeah, it was Walt, Lily, their daughter Sharon, and there was one other person that was in there, and I can't remember who it was.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful little area, and it's something that every Disney fan should do at least one time.
Yeah.
If you can.
But to Tiana's, I do have like a special thing too, because I was able to go the last day of operations of Splash Mountain, and I was able to go the first day of Tiana's. So I thought that was like a very special thing at least for Disneyland. I didn't get to go opening day for Walt Disney World, but I'm glad I was able to do so at Disneyland. But all in all, I think it's a great attraction. I think it's beautiful. I think it's going to go well with a lot of the park goers. I think once it opens on November 15th, I think it's going to be received well, as long as they follow Wizard's advice and kind of get out, like let people into the ride to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to Wizard. Hey, look, Wizard, myself, and George, we all have special access, right? So Disney, listen to us. We're the special access crew. Make sure you fix that VQ situation, because that is, come on, we can do better, right? Absolutely. But gentlemen, I want to thank you both for coming on. Mr. Wizard, it is always a good time having you on. I want to have you on again, Wizard, to talk about that, some Universal stuff.
Oh yes, big stuff, massive, huge, laser eyes, doom. Oh yeah, Disney's dead, suckers.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. I love that. No, but yeah, we were texting the other day, and you have some big stuff that you brought to my attention. So we'll definitely arrange that, like this, maybe upcoming this week or something, and we'll talk about it. But Wizard, where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
You can find me on Theme Park Wizard on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, and the new social media app that George is creating, the Italiano app. And then you can also find me on Patreon, and you can find me on YouTube memberships, and you can find me on Hinge, Tinder. Just kidding, I have a fiance, but
he's off the market, ladies. He's off the market.
That's right. Yeah, but you can still find some, I'm sure, some fake profiles of me that George made over there. So check it out.
George is catfishing everybody over there on Tinder,
George,
using your.
Yeah, he's like the Wizard, but it's really him.
That's awesome. George, where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
I actually figured out the username, but it's really him. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You can also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There he is. Sticky. Oh, hold on. Sticky. Did he say sticky? There we go. Oh, like a little over a month, George, until we go.
Yeah.
Telling you, bro. It's gonna be wild. We'll see how it goes. House of Blues. Go ahead.
House of Blues. Let's do it.
Yep.
It's coming, and we'll be sticky.
We're gonna be sticky. We're gonna be in the audience, very, very sticky. But thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG 55. George, should we end this video like we always end this video?
Let's do it.
Here is the Queen. See you later.
Thank you for watching OG 55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.